Hey everyone, welcome back to another 2 minutes Tuesday with Bala. This week we are going to look into Azure Bicep parameters file. So in the last episode we were looking into how to use Azure Biceps parameters. Now we are trying to create a file called the parameters file, and then we could use the same thing in place of inline parameters. Let's get started. Starting with the naming convention, the file has to be created with an extension .bicepparam. So anytime you're defining a parameter in the bicep file, and that name and type should match to the parameters bicep file. And also the parameters files are only supported in Bicep CLI version 0.18 and Azure CLI 2.47. So let's look into the declaration. How do we define this? So most of the times you will be saying like using path and then the file name .bicep, which is the actual bicep file where you have all the definitions, and then you're going to define what the parameters are. So as soon as you add the usings path and then you start defining the parameters, with Visual Studio Code, you will be able to see the autocomplete. In this example, you can see that I'm using the storage account.bicep, which is my actual bicep file. And then I'm defining a parameter, storage name, and an int value, for example. So these two are the parameters that are already defined in the storage account.bicep. And then I'm just in the parameters file, I'm defining it. One way is to manually go and do this. When you're doing with bigger projects, then you might need to use the generate-params, which is part of the Bicep CLI. You can see the command line for that. It is generate-params, what is the actual bicep file, and then you can say the output format, and you could say include all the parameters, and it's going to generate that for you. Parameters precedence, a lot of times there might be a confusion between like, what if I have the same parameter inline in the bicep file itself and also in the bicepparams file, which would take precedence. The inline value always takes precedence over the value that is defined on the bicepparams file. Name conflicts. Whenever you're having a parameter name which is conflicting with a PowerShell command line name or a parameter name in the PowerShell, then PowerShell will automatically add something called the parameter name from template. In this example, you can see resource group name is in the bicep file, but it conflicts with the resource group name parameter when you're creating a new AZ resource group deployment. So at that time, when it needs both the resource group names, then the actual PowerShell's resource group name stays the same, and the CLI's bicep parameter is going to be changed to resource group name from template to differentiate that. Last one is going, how do we deploy this? So whenever you're doing a deployment, you could give the name resource group template file. Similar way, there is a -- parameters, and you can point it to the bicep param. That should work. Thank you for watching. See you next week with another topic.